Previously on District 9.
Oh, I'll get that up.
The sellswords move into District 9 to grab Vicus, clean and quiet. So that's a no on District 9, clean, and definitely quiet. Him and Red Vest are both armed with alien guns, which is smart because co-op modes are really popular in FPS. Well, the Colonel is very annoyed at this and tells everyone to switch over from non-lethal to extremely lethal, but is reminded that the bosses need Vicus brought in alive. Well, shocker, he doesn't give a shit. That would give them a severe disadvantage.
Okay, steady on till I call you. All right, I need to get the door open.
Possible alien tissue detected.
No! I said stay until I call you.
Although the other team has some disadvantages of their own. Vicus is trying not to kill anyone, although he instinctively fires back when someone shoots at him. The bosses will probably be happy, though. They have footage of another test subject being blasted. Oh yeah, speaking of horrors beyond all reckoning, the pair have to head into that lab filled with those carcasses in order to get the cylinder, and Red Vest is naturally horrified to see his people are being stripped for pieces. Well, sorting out which species bits are which is going to be hard because the sellswords arrive with their lethal weapons, so Vicus shoots back and turns them into water balloons, but they're still trapped. Fortunately, there are so many pieces of prawn tech down here that Red Vest can make a bomb to get into the garage and swipe a truck. They head back to District 9, but the Colonel is in pursuit in a helicopter. I think that's really his jam, shooting at stuff from helicopters. Vicus and Red Vest have lost their guns by now, but they make it to his shack and hide in the basement. The problem is that the sight of the shit going on in that lab has convinced Red Vest to change the plan. He'll cure Vicus, but after he gets back with some reinforcements to save his people, and that's going to take 3 years. And I'm not a doctor, but I think the condition won't wait that long. But Red Vest says that he needs all the fluid in order to get them home as rapidly as possible. He can't spare any to help Vicus first. Vicus has a counter-proposal, though. Must be pretty persuasive if it's ended the argument. While Vicus is trying to get the kid to bring him up to the ship, the Colonel has arrived and is trying to get down there to finish this. Red Vest won't help him, and Vicus is busy trying to get the craft to get him up to the mothership, but he may not have time if the Colonel continues like this.
I can't believe I get paid to do this. I love watching the prawns die.
It's the nuances of a character that really make them come to life. While using his alien claw hand, Vicus gets the craft started. Turns out that this isn't something that Red Vest just cobbled together. This is some full-on landing craft. Must have been a thing that fell off 20 years ago. But it may fall again because the sellswords show up with missiles.
Something is fired upon a given speed.
Yeah, that's not good. Now, you don't put 2 rocket engines on there unless you need them both. It's not like one of them's like a spare tire or something. The craft crashes. Red Vest is devastated that his son was likely just killed, along with any hope for his people. The sellswords show up at the crashed ship, where Vicus is not looking so good, and the Colonel personally drags him out. Vicus and Red Vest are both being carted back to headquarters, but there's one thing they didn't count on.
Oh, I'll get that up.
The gangsters catch them all in an ambush, and completely unprepared for this kind of assault, the surviving sellswords are forced to fall back, while Vicus is pulled out and dragged off. But with reinforcements, they may be able to take him away from the gangsters. Basically, Vicus is now a human wishbone. Who's going to get the chance to cut him up, and for what reason?
All I want is to eat that house and become like you.
Never has all I want preceded something so absolutely absurd and completely sincere. While they're sharpening the machete, the kid has actually survived and been puttering around in the crashed ship, and manages to activate something on the mothership. This then turns on a whole bunch of other alien things, including the power armor that they traded for earlier, which then blasts the gangsters, freezes their bullets in the air, and then... Yeah, raise your hand if you saw that coming. Okay, that wasn't on my bingo card. Helicopters head up to the mothership to see what's happening, while Vicus accepts the invitation to climb inside the power armor, which is good because the Colonel has Red Vest dragged out so he can be questioned about what's happening. Vicus makes his appearance with a combination of intimidation and dumbassery, but rather than attacking, chooses to run off, while the Colonel goads him about running off. Oh well, guess I'm prepared to live down to your expectations. Red Vest isn't willing to talk, so rather than wasting time, the Colonel wants him killed for the crime of being within killing range. So Vicus, feeling guilty, turns back, blasting the guy's arm off for good measure. Well, at least it can be reattached. With a stapler. He promises to get him to his boy, so they begin their trek across District 9 to get to the landing craft. But it's not just automatic rifles they have to worry about. Presented here is the first and possibly only film appearance of a South African NTW-20 anti-materiel rifle, which can penetrate even Vicus's combat rig. Of course, that guy also fired this from close enough that he could have hit Vicus with a beer can, so yeah, he just invited that splattering. Vicus insists that Red Vest go on ahead, that he can go and meet up with his son and do the right thing. There's a whole lot of blasting and zapping, getting hit by a truck and a Gatling gun and pork-based improvised weaponry. He keeps buying them time as the mothership takes the landing craft up itself. But when he's finally ready to deal with the Colonel...
Fucking play with me, Clement! You fucker!
Oh, that was a bad time for bravado. Well, his loss is their gain. The sellswords are free to get out now. Spoke too soon. But between the NTW-20 and that truck, this thing has had its warranty voided, and just a little more by the Colonel causes Vicus to get ejected from the broken Hulk. Well, the Colonel could take him in alive, which is what his bosses want. I mean, not for any altruism, it's just it's hard to kill someone with a gun that's not going to damage the valuable pieces that they're trying to get out of him, you know. It's the same reason you don't open a cereal box with a mallet. Well, others have strong feelings as well. After everything those sellswords have done the last couple of days, the prawns have become rather unhappy and expressed this by ripping the Colonel to bits. Not the usual way that 11-piece and Colonel go together, but there it is. Well, Red Vest and Son have made it to the ship and program it to fly off, leaving the humans to wonder if he intends to come back, and if he does, if it's to just collect his people, or if it will be to declare war. We don't know. We do know the guy that he was training exposed that illegal genetic research program. Naturally, he's been arrested. MNU has lawyers armed with reverse Uno cards. And the place the aliens were all sent to, District 10? Well, presumably that's where Vicus is, as a green prawn now. Well, I gotta say, that medical computer's gonna really have its work cut out for it. If you haven't noticed, I've been talking about the film, well, taking it on its presented terms, and not upon its background. The film is an allegory for apartheid Africa's District 6, and that is something that other people can discuss. I'm not qualified to reflect upon that. I share no hemisphere with South Africa, and I was like 12 when all that was going on. I have no idea. Everything I say should thus be construed as being about what the film literally says to us, and not what the allegory is supposed to be. If it turns out that if you put a black South African in place of the alien and something I say is problematic, my defense is that I really, really don't think that Nigerian crime lords were going through District 6 eating people. Ergo, things cannot be thought of as one for one here. Not to mention, it would be pretty fucked up to suggest that the troubles in South Africa started when black people arrived from somewhere else. The film was based upon a short film, Alive in Joburg, and expanded to a full movie. Kind of like Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow was. Let's make this again, but bigger. This certainly upped the scale of things and gave it more production values, though mostly it fleshes out what it was with more action. Then that's fine with me. I love the concept of dealing with aliens in this kind of mundane way. Just an episode of Cops, but with big green bug people instead of the guy in the white tank top with the tall boy in his hands. If you watch the short film, you'll notice that the actor who plays Vickus has a small part in it. The film thus effectively blends social commentary with a sci-fi shoot-'em-up, which I for one appreciate. I'm always down for science fiction working to do more and have something to say, besides some pat message. I mean, this is not some Star Trek, oh, if we just do this one thing, then all the social problems would have gone away and we'll warp away into the end credits. No. Kind of the point is that there is no one thing. This is a hard problem. And because it's a hard problem, nobody really wants to deal with it, not the right way. If someone claims to have a quick fix for a complex problem, they're either lying or doing something very bad. This shows that quite well, actually. Making Vickus an unlikable prick who has a change of heart is a fine journey. He's not what I would call an everyman, he's more of an every arsehole. But it's that idea. He's not made of heroic stuff, or even particularly decent stuff, really, but what this does is drops him not into an I can identify with him so much as a, yeah, I've met people like that. That's the most it does for character, by the way. The film's characterization is otherwise non-existent. These people are ciphers. They are out of the box, does what it says on the package. This is why the documentary aspects of it are my preferred parts of the film. The small bits fit really well. But yes, nevertheless, it is a nice film. I enjoyed it. I don't go for Gorn, but the splat-based guns, I didn't mind those at all. They're not gruesome about it. There's no guts pornography to it. And that gives it that sort of Mars Attacks vibe to it. I can appreciate that. But yeah, all in all, it was worthwhile.
All hail